one thing I'm curious about is how do you leverage your time? In other words, how do you stop yourself getting crazy busy and lose your life in the busyness of a business? What are some of your top tips for that?
Yeah, one of the biggest tips, and I probably the most central one, is to systemize your expertise.
Yep.
So what a lot of people do is, we'll take on clients and work with them one on one and so on. And we're hoping to have this ongoing relationship with someone that just, it meanders and it goes on for a long time and so on because we're charging by the hour and we end up filling our calendar. That's how we're getting paid.
Yep.
And when we haven't really clarified our expertise, positioned it properly, and systemized it, we end up, not charging enough, taking on too many clients or clients that aren't a great fit. And we end up just with this full calendar. And I was there for many, many years. I was capped out with what I could really make. I was the business. I positioned myself as the business. I couldn't be removed from the business. I was essential to it. So it was at a business model level that I really hadn't systemized what I knew and turned it into a format that gave me leverage, right? So that's what I think a lot of people haven't done is they haven't really identified their expertise and clarified it and specified it at a point to extract its highest value, first of all, so they could charge the most for it. But secondly, turning it into some kind of a system that could be delivered in a one-to-many sort of model.
Yep.
And I think that's really the leap that a lot of people need to make. You can't go one-to-many until you really systemize what you know.
Yep.
That's the liberator, because when you systemize what you know, you can basically take your knowledge and put it into leverageable frameworks or formats such as video courses and stuff. So
Yep.
this is the classic, group coaching model or, creating courses and things. But you can't get to that level until you really do the work of figuring out what is it that I know? How do I properly framework that in a way that people can learn and they can get it quickly?
Yep.
Right. So there's a lot of people that like they coach people and so on, but they've never taught anybody. They've never really learned the art and the skill of teaching. And so like it's a mess. You go into a program and it's like all the stuff's disorganized, none of because they don't come out of that kind of a background. They've never gone through instructional design principles. They don't really know how to create curriculum and training and so on. And it ends up being a mess. And I think what happens is, you need to be able to extract the knowledge out of your head and organize it into a linear framework that you can take someone else through, that they can understand, that they get, where there's feedback loops built into it. So when a person's struggling, there's a way to intervene and help them at that point. And so there's a whole process that I think is the secret to making that leap from sort of a one-on-one kind of business where you're trading time for money, you're capped, to being able to make that leap where your video content, let's say, does most of the heavy lifting in your business.
Yep.
And you show up a couple times a week and you coach people in a group setting or something. That's where you can have that liberator effect, where in a few hours a week, you can be really managing a lot of clients all in
Yeah.
one shot because you've set it up properly in a certain way.
Yeah.
You've turned what you know into a system. And
Yep.
I think that has so many benefits, not only from a business model perspective, but also from a marketing perspective. Because when you can offer people a system, it feels like it's a magic bullet. It feels like you've really got this down to a science because you've got it down to, let's say, a 3-step or a 4-step system that you can take people through. It creates a lot of authority. It creates a lot of belief. And people really, sense that, okay, you really know what you're doing when you could present what you know in that kind of a detailed way.